They came out of the dark like ghosts, their ships blotting out the stars, sleek, silent, bristling with power. The Galactic Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds, burned civilizations to ash, and enslaved species that dared to resist. But when they reached Earth, they hesitated. Not because of fear. Arrogance ran deep in the Empire's blood. No, they paused because Earth looked primitive, barely united, still struggling with internal wars and environmental collapse. A perfect target. Easy pickings. The initial assault was swift. They hit the satellites first, blinding Earth's eyes. Then the power grids, the internet, global communications. Cities went dark. Panic spread like wildfire. Then came the dropships. Unholy machines that split the skies and vomited out armored warriors. The Empire expected chaos. They didn't expect coordinated resistance. Within hours, guerrilla units were hitting back. Not governments, not armies. People. Farmers with old rifles, teenagers using drones, retired engineers building EMP weapons from scrap. The invaders laughed at first, until their walkers started falling. Their scouts vanished, and their supply ships never returned. And then came the first real message from Earth, broadcasted across all frequencies in 27 languages. This is not war, this is home defense, and we haven't even gotten serious yet. High command of the Empire didn't take it seriously. Just propaganda, they thought. A desperate bluff. So they deployed Phase 2, orbital bombardment. They'd done it to other planets, glass the surface, rebuild later. Only it didn't work. Somehow, the nukes and plasma bombs were intercepted mid-air by Earth's own satellites, now hacked and weaponized by civilian tech experts. The atmosphere lit up with brilliant flashes as the sky turned into a battlefield. Something wasn't right. In orbit, Admiral Vralix paced the deck of the dreadnought Ardent Flame. A Zenthari bred for command, his species had ruled empires long before this one. His 6 eyes blinked in tight sequence as he reviewed the latest intel. Earth should have fallen by now. Resources depleted, population panicked, resistance futile. But instead, Earth was fighting back harder than any race they'd ever encountered. A lieutenant approached, scales pale with nervous energy. Admiral, the forward fleet reports total loss. 80% of ground troops wiped. Remaining units surrounded. They're asking for extraction. From a single continent? Vralix hissed. The officer hesitated. No, sir. From 6. He turned, his voice a low growl. How many humans are we dealing with? We estimated global organized militia forces to be under 20 million. Yes, sir. That's what we thought. What are the new numbers? The lieutenant's voice shook. Over 900 million confirmed combatants, possibly more. Sir, it seems civilians are fighting. Children, elders, untrained yet coordinated. They're adapting faster than we can respond. Silence filled the command deck. Vralix clenched his claws behind his back. His translator struggled for a moment as his native tongue clicked and hissed in low syllables. And the footage? The officer nodded, bringing up the screen. It played raw feeds from body cams, human fighters ambushing drop squads with home-built explosives, city streets turned into traps, swarms of tiny quadcopters disabling tank systems, wild-eyed resistance fighters laughing as they blew holes through elite Empire troops with scavenged tech. But one clip stopped them cold. A human commander, face bloodied, stood before a captured Empire general. She leaned close, whispering, "You think this is our army?" "Number, this is just us being angry. You haven't even seen our military." And then she let the general live, sent him back up in a stolen dropship with a tracking beacon buried in his armor. The message was clear. This was just the beginning. The general's dropship limped back into orbit, smoke trailing from its undercarriage as emergency protocols guided it to the docking bay of the Ardent Flame. Medics rushed forward, but the general staggered out on his own, his face pale, movements stiff, and a haunted look in his 4 eyes. Admiral Vrelix watched in silence. "What did you see?" he finally asked. The general swallowed hard. "Everything we feared. And more." The admiral motioned toward the medical officers, dismissing them. He wanted no distractions. "You were captured. You returned. Explain." The general's voice cracked. "They could have killed me, easily. Instead, they showed me something, deliberately. They wanted me to come back." "What did they show you?" The general raised a trembling hand, pointing toward the viewport that overlooked the blue and green world below. "Not an army, a mindset. They don't fight like we do. No ranks, no chain of command. They fight like it's personal, like every human is a general, a soldier, and a weapon all at once." Vrelix's eyes narrowed. "That's chaos." "No, sir," the general whispered. "That's what they want us to think." He reached into his uniform and dropped a human-made tablet on the table. It flickered to life, playing a video in broken galactic standard. A woman stood before a makeshift war map drawn on a cafe chalkboard. Civilians, some barely out of school, some in wheelchairs, listened closely. Her words were simple. "They thought taking out our armies would break us. But they forgot one thing. We don't need orders to protect what's ours." Admiral Vrelix turned away, silent for a long moment. Then he spoke quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "They're not an empire. They're a wildfire." Elsewhere, on the surface of Earth, in the ruins of what used to be Geneva, a squad of Empire enforcers crouched in a crumbling museum, waiting for extraction. Their commander, a young but promising officer named Ithran, held his plasma rifle tight. His squad had been ambushed 3 times in the last 2 hours, once by a 12-year-old on a bicycle who dropped a grenade in their path, and again by an old woman who'd lured them into a church, then collapsed the roof with explosives hidden under hymnals. He'd never seen anything like it. And now, in the dim light, he saw movement, shapes in the fog, human silhouettes, moving fast, too fast. "They're here!" Ithran barked. "Defensive formation!" But it was already too late. The walls burst inward. Smoke grenades hissed. Blinding lights and thunderous shouts disoriented the troops. And then they were on them. Humans, wearing patched armor and wielding weapons clearly made in garages and basements. Yet they moved with precision, like they had done this their whole lives. Ithran fired blindly. One of his shots clipped a human in the shoulder. The man didn't even flinch. He dove at Ithran, tackled him to the ground, and jammed a combat knife made from recycled steel against his throat. The human leaned close, face smeared with ash and sweat. "Thought you broke us? We build under pressure?" Ithran stared up, breathing hard. "You're not military?" The man laughed. "Military? That's cute." He stood and let him go. "I fix cars for a living. Or did, before you bastards blew up my shop." Then the man turned to the others. "Move out. Leave the wounded. We're not executioners." Ithran watched them vanish into the smoke, dragging their wounded with them, leaving nothing but broken pride and silence. Later that night, Ithran would transmit a message to command, a single line. "If what we've seen isn't their army, then may the stars have mercy when it does arrive." The Empire had always believed in overwhelming force. Crush resistance early, and the rest would kneel. But Earth didn't kneel. It bared its teeth and bit back harder. And now, deep within the heart of the Pacific Ocean, something stirred. Not resistance fighters, not civilians, something else, something trained. It began with silence, an absence of signal picked up by an Empire surveillance satellite, a dead zone where there should have been radio chatter, radar pings, movement. Then the silence exploded. A burst of encrypted comms from underwater, followed by dozens of heat signatures breaching the surface. Submarines. Dozens. Sleek, dark, and deadly. They weren't civilian ships. They weren't government-issued either. They were ghosts. Back on the Ardent Flame, Admiral Vrelix stood before a projection of Earth's oceanic data. New contacts blinked into existence every minute. Ships surfacing where none had been detected. Transports, drones, aircraft, not part of any known Earth Navy. "What faction is this?" he growled. "Another country?" The analyst beside him shook his head. "No known nation claims them. They use no flags, no identifiers, but they're armed. Advanced technology cybernetically enhanced suits.